Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com, and it is time for this month's Tarotscope for January 2025. So it is a new year and also a new month. And normally every month I pick two cards for every astrological sign, starting with Aries, ending with Pisces, giving you some general advice for the month. But for this New Year's edition, we're going to do a little something special where we give you all one extra card which will focus on the themes for the next year. In the case of a challenging card, it's going to be something that you're releasing or working on releasing or wanting to release. And in the case of a positive card, it's what you're going to want to set your intentions toward or what you're going to be working toward or maybe even achieving. So we're going to go through all the astrological signs. There's some convenient little timestamps at the bottom of your screen to get to your relevant information. And if you're looking for an even more accurate reading, you might also want to listen to the message for your astrological moon sign and your astrological rising sign as well. So, without further ado, let's take a look at January 2025. First, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Aries. So, if you're an Aries or have a lot of Aries in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best for you to place your focus for January 2025. And we got the Three of Swords. And a lot of people wince when they look at the Three of Swords because they think, oh no, this means something's going to hurt. You know, it does show a heart with three swords driven through it. But for me, a lot of times the Three of Swords will indicate a wound that's already occurred. The heart is already wounded. So instead of being afraid of something hurting you this next month, instead the Three of Swords is really asking you to pay attention to or to address any pain from the past that you're having difficulty releasing. You know, the heart is weighed down by these three heavy swords, and it would be rejoining the sun above the clouds if those swords weren't weighing it down. And yet the heart is hesitant to let go of the swords because swords can represent power. And so, too, for us, sometimes we feel like if we just hang on to that painful thing, well, we're going to be more powerful somehow. We're going to be ready for the next painful thing, and we're not going to be drawn into it the same way. And yet, the lesson with the Three of Swords is always clear. It's time to let go of that which has become burdensome on your heart. So, Aries, for this new year, this could be a time where you're setting aside things. It could be a time where you're forgiving or where you're finally letting go of something emotionally that's been holding you back before. The advice from your inner wisdom, if you're an Aries this next month, is the Ten of Wands reversed. And this card says that you've done all your work. You've been working so hard. 2024 might have been a year where you're really pushing forward. But now that work needs to be set aside. Ten of Wands reversed for me will indicate that it's time for you to enjoy the harvest. It's time for you to enjoy something that you've worked toward. And so this could be a year where you're really setting your intentions towards how am I going to reward myself? Or instead of just working for these things, what are the ways that I can reward myself or benefit myself as I'm working toward my goal? So life isn't just feeling like a huge drudge. I also just feel like this is a harvest card, upright or reverse. So this could be a time where you're starting to reap the rewards for all the efforts that you've put into the last year. So I do feel like Ten of Wands could be a very good thing for you. But when I couple it with that Three of Swords, Ten of Wands reversed, I almost feel like you're going to want to make some room in your heart for some of this new good stuff and maybe let go of some of the burdensome energy of that Three of Swords so that you do have room to receive it. And then finally, the third card we're going to go into for Aries is going to be the main lesson or the main focus for 2025 for you. And in the case of a challenging card here of the Five of Cups, again, sort of like what we've been talking about, this is going to be a year where you are really focusing not on the losses like the figure on this card. He's looking at the three spilled cups. He's thinking, I can't get the wine back in the cups. Isn't that sad? And he's kind of in a trance. He can't look away from it. This is going to be a time when you're instead remembering the cups that are still standing, looking at the things that are working for you, Aries, and building on those things. So, in the vein of the theme of the three cards, it does look like you're letting go of something. And I don't want to sugarcoat these cards and say you shouldn't feel your real feelings or be sad or grieve something if you've lost something. But deal with those feelings, but don't get stuck there, because the Five of Cups can sometimes keep you in a trance. So it's so important that you are bouncing back and being the resilient Aries that you are, and finding the way forward and working with the cups that are standing, working with your opportunities. It's time to release old losses and make room for new gains. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Taurus. So if you're a Taurus or have a lot of Taurus in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best for you to place your focus for January 2025. And this card kind of flipped out while I was shuffling, and it's the Ace of Pentacles. And aces are just really good to get in a tarot reading. They're just like getting aces in a poker game. And in the case of the Ace of Pentacles for you, Taurus, this is a new year, a new start, a new month to really focus on your new opportunities. If you look up the Ace of Pentacles in a tarot book or online, a lot of times the keywords associated with it are like a new job or a new opportunity or some sort of new success coming your way. And so I do feel like this is going to be an important month for you to really focus on what are my new opportunities. There's always that gateway opening up on the Ace of Pentacles. And it's almost as if there's golden doorways opening up for you. And yet, when we look down the path of your opportunity with the Ace of Pentacles, we do see that mountain there. And that can indicate that there's a challenge, there's an obstacle on your way to your goal. But that shouldn't dissuade you. You need to keep moving forward, because if you can climb that mountain and stake your flag into the top of it, the mountain can represent fame, victory, accomplishment, and positive reputation. The next card is going to be advice from your inner wisdom for this next month of January 2025. And we got the Two of Swords. And this is a card of making peace with the thing that's in between in your life. And I feel like when we're looking at it in the context of the Ace of Pentacles, this could be a time when you're in between opportunities, in between things you're valuing, maybe even in between jobs, or even evaluating what's next for me professionally. Maybe there's a whole new phase or chapter that you're just about to begin. And yet, don't be in too much of a hurry this month to get through that in-between time, because the in-between time is the time where the magic really happens. Your idea is going to become more refined. And I do feel like there's a lot of good that's going to come from you really taking stock and having peace and the things that are incomplete, and just kind of watching where the trends are going. The advice from your year card, if you're a Taurus, the advice for where you should put your focus, what you might want to release or what you might want to set your intentions for. Look at that. We got the Star card. And, you know, for me, the Star is the card of hope in the tarot. And I feel like where you want to set your intentions, Taurus, is on the highest heights with the Star card. This is a card of transcendent wisdom. It's a card of networking, connections with people who are luminaries in their own right. But it also could say that it's your time to take your place among those stars, that instead of just observing from a distance, you really want to be amongst that. You want to be in that energy. But I also feel with the Star card, you know, in the tarot and the major arcana, it appears after some of the most difficult cards. And it's that little light at the end of the tunnel. And so I feel like hope is returning, and you need to just really focus this whole next year on where is the hope returning? How can I realign with my transcendent wisdom and evaluate my situation from those wise eyes? Because I feel like you're going to make the best decisions possible when you're operating from that vantage point. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Gemini. So if you're a Gemini or have a lot of Gemini in your chart, this first card is going to be where you should place your focus for 2025, for January 2025. And we got the Page of Wands. And whenever I look at the Page of Wands, immediately the word that comes to mind for me is talent. So where you want to place your focus this month, Gemini, is on your talents, is on the thing that you're developing. And it might be something that you're still growing into. We can see the Page of Wands here holding that wand in front of him. It's a lot taller than he is. It's like a measuring rod, and he hasn't quite grown into it 100%. But he's looking upward, he's optimistic, and he's willing. And he is growing into this beautifully. And so I feel for you, Gemini, this is going to be a wonderful month for you to grow into that talent and to really appreciate the beauty of it. The next card is going to be advice from your inner wisdom. And for January, Gemini, we got the Six of Swords, which for me is a benevolent change card. We see the refugees, they're leaving the rough waters behind them. They're sailing toward the smooth waters. This could be a time to leave behind the turbulence of the past and sail towards something smooth. But whenever I see the Six of Swords, I just think that there's this natural river or current that's operating through your life. And instead of fighting the waves, what you really want to do this next month is surrender to it. Surrender to where that natural flow is going, Gemini. It just looks like there's moves, transitions, changes, possibly even travel on the horizon for you. And I just feel like you want to cooperate with where that energy seems to be flowing instead of fighting against those waves. And finally, the last card is going to be your year card of what you should either focus on bringing toward you or focus on releasing. And we got the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is a card sometimes of suffering, getting stuck in your fears or in your shadows. Nine of Swords has been called the worst card in the deck, not because it promises the worst things are going to happen to you, but because it affects your perspective. And so, in the case of a challenging card in the tarot, what you want to release for the new year, Gemini, is worst case scenario thinking, right away going to the fear, or giving your inner saboteur the soapbox about what you think is possible for you, what you think you can or can't do. There is within all of us a shadowy, limited voice that will always tell us we can't have this or we can't do that, or we're limited in some way. And I find the best advice for the Nine of Swords and the best antidote for it is sunlight. It's shining a light on those fears and maybe being vulnerable and opening up about them to other people and asking them, am I crazy or is this true? Is this worst fear that I'm feeling really what's happening here? And more often than not, people will say that fear is absolutely not true. And even when you speak it aloud to someone else, you're kind of hearing yourself and you're like, yeah, that is ridiculous that I'm even afraid of that. So I feel like this is a year to challenge your fears and to no longer be stuck by the limitations of your mind. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Cancer. So if you're a Cancer or have a lot of Cancer in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best for you to place your focus for January 2025. And we got the Two of Pentacles. And when I see the Two of Pentacles, I think expect the unexpected. This is a month where you need to be flexible and adaptable, Cancer, because those wavy waters behind the juggler are happening chaotically, and they're not really taking into account how the juggler's feeling. They're just coming in. And so too with life, sometimes it sends us waves, and it's not because we're good or bad or we did this right or this wrong. It just is. And like the juggler, we have to keep our sense of humor and not get completely swept to sea by those waves. The juggler is amusing. He kind of takes life's lemons and makes lemonade with them. And so Two of Pentacles for you, Cancer, could be a time where you're really focusing on taking a chaotic situation and finding a way to laugh at it or finding a way to ride that wave unscathed. The advice from your inner wisdom, if you're a Cancer for the month of January, is the Queen of Cups reversed, which is very appropriate for Cancer. Sometimes Queen of Cups reversed can get stuck in her feelings. She takes it personally. She kind of looks at the stuff that's going on around her and she thinks it's really all about her or all about somebody's attack on her feelings. And yet that's not quite true. And so I kind of feel like this is going to be a month where you really might have some emotional triggers going on, and it might be really easy for you to take personally things that are happening around you when they're just happening very randomly and chaotically. You might have to stop yourself and say, is this really personal, or is this just, something chaotically that's just popping in right now? I think it's really important for you to keep your perspective, but most important of all, keep your sense of humor. Laughter has such a healing effect. So maybe you need to be around funny people or watch funny movies or even just joke about life a little bit more with a little bit of dry sarcasm. But I feel like this is going to be a month where your humor is really going to save the day. And then the overall year card of what you need to focus on bringing toward you or releasing. You got the Sun. The best card in the deck, Cancer, for the year. This is a time for you to place your focus on how are you going to manifest your joy? What does the sun represent to you when you're at your brightest, when you're at your happiest? What is that person? Who is that person? What do they look like? This is going to be your year where you really want to envision that. This could also be a year where it's so important for you to focus on your optimism and to not let that get extinguished by whatever chaotic external events are happening around you that you have no control over anyway. Don't let those external things kill your joy. The sun is telling you to focus on what brings you light and happiness. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Leo. So if you're a Leo or have a lot of Leo in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best for you to place your focus for January 2025, and out flipped the Hermit card. And the Hermit, he's the seeker of the tarot. He goes within. And this is a month for you, Leo, to really do some self-reflection, reevaluation. The Hermit holds the lantern lit with starlight, and he's going through the dark. And so too for you, Leo, it might feel like you're going through the dark right now. You might not be able to see the whole path in front of you. How does it all work out? How does the ending go? And yet the Hermit has enough information with the light in his lantern to illuminate the next step for him to take. And so this is an important time for you to focus on what you know you need to do next. You have all the information you need to know what the next proper step is. And if you take that step, your Hermit lantern is going to illuminate the next step after that, and so on and so forth. So I feel for you, Leo, this is a time where it might be feeling like you're going through the dark, might also feel like a lot of burdens are on your shoulders alone. Like the Hermit, you're kind of on your own. But I do feel like this is an important month of self-discovery and finding your way through the dark by trusting your own inner wisdom. The advice from your inner wisdom this next month of January is the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands is telling you to take the moral high ground, to take the high road. Like the figure on the card, he's holding his position on the mountaintop. And if we look closely, he's wearing two different shoes, which means he's a nonconformist. He doesn't walk in the same shoes as everybody else. And so too for you, Leo. You've never been one of the crowd or someone who just gets lost in the group. You've always been a little unique. And so too, your path is going to be unique. You're walking in your own shoes. You need to stay in alignment with that higher wisdom, with what makes you excellent, and hold your ground there. There might even be some challenges where these nameless, faceless people are trying to knock you off of your pedestal, and you just need to hold your ground. And the advice card, the overarching advice card for the year of 2025, what you want to bring toward you or what you want to release, you want to bring this toward you. You got the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands is the card of foreign places, foreign situations, travel, movement. But he's also exciting. He's going on a quest. And I feel like this is a year for you, Leo, where you're going on a quest into foreign lands, into a foreign experience. This might be a literal travel moving card, or it could indicate that you are transforming the way you're looking at your life. You're going into uncharted waters, but it's expanding your mind. You're growing. And all Wands cards, they really do focus on that, theme of growth, because there's those little leaves springing out of the top of the wand. And I just feel like this is a time for you, Leo, to venture outside of old constrictive parameters and to know that a new adventure does await you, and it's time to start your quest toward it. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Virgo. So if you're a Virgo or have a lot of Virgo in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best for you to place your focus for January 2025. And we got the Four of Swords, which is the card of peace, rest, exile, retreat, a need to decompress, and also just a need to get clear in yourself. Maybe 2024 was super productive, super active. There's a lot of stressful triggers that happen. Four of Swords is saying that this is your month, Virgo, to get calm, to really let your nervous system settle down a little bit. But I feel like this is going to be a time to really find your center again. And hidden in that stained glass window on the Four of Swords is the word Pax, P-A-X, which means peace in Latin. This is a time for you to find what brings you peace, Virgo, and rediscover that and reincorporate that into your life. It's time to take a time out, take a breather. Advice from your inner wisdom So appropriate for you, Virgo. Month of healing ahead. We got the Angel of Temperance, which has a very similar meaning to the Four of Swords. The Angel of Temperance is all about moderation, balance, and restoring one's equilibrium. The angel pours the full cup of water into the empty cup. The angel knows what's lopsided in your life. Where has your life's energy all been pooling? Into what cup has it been going? It's time for you to consciously pour some of that energy into the empty part of your life and redistribute that energy. Also, if we look up temperance in the dictionary, it will say moderation. So, this is a time to be moderate in all things, including your emotional reaction to things. So, instead of responding with a 10 to a little 3 issue, this could be a time when you're just a little bit more measured in your response. And then finally, your year card for what you want to release or what you want to bring toward you. You want to release. You want to release this Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords can represent endings, traumas, things that come from behind. The guy in this card's literally been stabbed in the back. Sometimes this card can represent old betrayals, axes that you have to grind, things that really keep you stuck in a state of suffering. And yet, the Ten of Swords always has to do with things that are final. They are done. They're over. You don't need to revisit them every 2 seconds in your mind and chew on them and think about them all the time. This is a new year, a new time. And so it's time to let go of all the old things of the past that keep you in a state of suffering. Even on the Ten of Swords, even with this bleak symbol, there's the dark clouds parting and the sunlight starting to peek through. And I feel too for you, Virgo, no matter what you went through in 2024, the dark clouds are dissipating and that new light is shining through. And it's time to focus on your healing, your wellness, and your balance. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Libra. So if you're a Libra or have a lot of Libra in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best for you to place your focus for January 2025. And we get the Queen of Wands. And I don't know one tarot reader out there who doesn't like the Queen of Wands. I'm sure I'll get someone in the comments who wants to be arbitrary and say they hate the Queen of Wands. But for me, the Queen of Wands is someone very special. When the Queen of Wands walks in the room, heads turn. People notice her because she has this authentic, warm, charismatic energy. She also has that little black cat in front of her throne. And that black cat is a symbol for what makes her magical. And when this deck was designed in 1909, black cats were considered unlucky or even taboo. And it's as if the Queen of Wands is saying, I don't care what you think about the black cat. I love it. And I'm going to put it right in front of my throne. And you're all just going to have to deal with it. So where you want to place your focus, Libra, this next month is on your star power, on what makes you shine. You also want to place your focus on what makes you magical, what makes you catch the eye, and what makes you unique. And instead of trying to hide yourself, to conform to what other people want, Queen of Wands is saying to be unapologetic about what makes you shine. And like the Queen of Wands, hold that sunflower, always turn your face toward the light. The advice from your inner wisdom for this next month of January 2025 is the Nine of Wands reversed, Libra. And this is a card that will say that it's time to release the chip on your shoulder. It's time to get rid of any kind of toxic energy that has to do with feeling put upon or feeling like, why me? And, I'm so angry. This is always happening to me. And somehow I'm not in control of my own life, my own growth. Could also be a time where you're releasing a grudge or you're learning to forgive somebody who you're wasting too much energy worrying about or focused on or chewing on a grudge over. Either way, both of these cards are Wands cards, and it's saying that this is a month of growth for you. And so there's a new year. It might be a time to release old things that keep you in a state of tension or suffering. And instead, you need to embrace the thing that makes you magical, charismatic. You need to be the Queen of Wands this next month for sure. And then finally, the overall year card of what you want to bring in or release. Another Wands card for you, Libra, in the Three of Wands. So all Wands cards, I feel like this is going to be a year of tremendous growth for you. The wands always have the leaves branching out of the top of the staves. And so too, you're going to be branching into some really new uncharted waters. On the Three of Wands, we see the figure who's looking out over the horizon, and the waters are glowing orange from sunrise or sunset. And this is really saying that the sun has set on an old way of your life and it's rising on the next. And I love the Three of Wands because it says that despite your worst fears, the future's wide open and waiting. Stop borrowing trouble. Stop imagining the worst case scenarios. Instead, accept that the future's wide open and waiting for your lead and your direction. And the future's going to do what your energy dictates it should do. So if you approach it with the Queen of Wands energy, it's going to be a year where you're really shining and you're really finding your optimism. But likewise, if you approach it with that Nine of Wands reversed energy, it might be something that you're feeling is a struggle or something that you need to shake your fist at. And I just feel with this Three of Wands, this is saying new lands are opening to you, new realities, new wonders. And boy, there's just a lot of excitement that's going to be coming up for you this next year. So stay tuned. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Scorpio. So if you're a Scorpio or have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, this first card is going to be what it's best for you to place your focus on for January 2025. And we have the Four of Pentacles reversed. Now, when the Four of Pentacles comes up reversed, it can sometimes call your attention to things that have become blockages for you from feeling your real feelings. Sometimes this card is telling you that you might be avoiding something too much that might be uncomfortable. Sometimes Four of Pentacles reverse can indicate like reaching for a drink or reaching for your TikTok scroll or your YouTube scroll or your social media to keep yourself distracted, or using something else that's to medicate something so you're not really feeling it. And yet this is a card that will always tell you, upright or reverse, that it's time for you to reevaluate what you're holding on your journey right now and whether or not that's useful for you anymore, whether or not you want to hold on to it or release it. So I just feel like this is going to be an important time for you to do an honest self-evaluation and really feel your real feelings instead of just going on automatic or just being caught in a habit or in a behavior pattern that's keeping you from really feeling those feelings. Advice from your inner wisdom, if you're a Scorpio, this flipped out, is the High Priestess card. And, High Priestess, she is the symbol for your instincts, your intuition, your inner knowing. And I feel like she's saying, with that Four of Pentacles reversed, don't get stuck on that surface level. Don't just go through life skimming the surface. It's time to plumb the depths. It's time to access that deep wisdom of the High Priestess within. The High Priestess is seated before a vast ocean, symbolizing her lifetime upon lifetime of gathering wisdom on this planet. And so too for you, Scorpio, this is a time for you to not shortchange yourself and not to cut your wisdom out of the equation, but instead to really access what's deepest within you. This is a hugely transformative month for you, Scorpio, but you have to access the thing that's not on the surface. And the year card for you, Scorpio, what you want to release or what you want to invite in. I think this is a release card. We got the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is always on guard. He is nervous about being vulnerable. And in alignment with what I was just talking about here with that Four of Pentacles reversed and High Priestess, it's time to go deeper this year. It's time to stop being afraid of your own intense feelings, your intense emotions. It's time to just dive into them. There is, an assumption with Scorpio that they're very deep people, but the waters that they have are very cold. They're cold, deep waters. And I feel like there's some fear of plumbing into that cold. But I feel like this is a time to warm the waters and to really go into that realm of feeling and defrosting those feelings. I think that this is going to be an important year for you to lower unnecessary defenses and to be aware of any blind spots that you're imposing on yourself that are distracting you from your real, deeper purpose. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Sagittarius. So if you're a Sagittarius, this first card is where it's best for you to place your focus for January 2025. And we get the Four of Wands reversed. And the Four of Wands reversed can indicate a change or a shift in your social dynamic this next month. This could be putting yourself into an environment where there's new groups of people. Or you might even be exposing yourself to new perspectives. But I feel like you're not going to find fulfillment or happiness just the same old people, the same thing day in and day out, but that there's a new opportunity for connection this next year. This card can also indicate a time where you're outgrowing old social environments, a place that might be very familiar for you, and you're acclimating yourself to something new. But the change in a social dynamic is the main theme of the Four of Wands reversed. Advice from your inner wisdom, if you're a Sagittarius for this next month of January, is the Queen of Pentacles. And the Queen of Pentacles is vastly successful. She's in her garden, which is slowly coming into full bloom. And yet she's got that little rabbit in the corner of her card, which can represent her fear or her anxiety. And that rabbit is in danger of taking the soapbox and completely dominating the queen's perspective. But she's not allowing that to happen. She's focused on the coin in her lap. She's focused on the job that needs to be done. And so too for you, Sagittarius, this next month is going to be a month where you want to focus on the work that must be done, the job that you have to do, and not focus over much on that anxiety. And then the overall year card for you, Sagittarius, of what you want to release or what you want to implement. It's kind of a bit of a mixed bag here. We got the King of Swords. There's a release and a draw near you theme with this card. You know, the King of Swords, if he represents something you want to draw near you, he represents establishing new rules, new laws for your life. He could indicate a time where you're getting organized in your thinking. Or he could also be a card that says that it's time for you to take your power, especially in an intellectual space. But what you might want to lose or release this next year, Sagittarius, is your rigidity. Or you might want to release something that feels very restrictive. This could be a system, a job, an attitude, a mindset, something that feels calcified or stuck. The King of Swords can sometimes be resistant to change. And so you might also need to challenge yourself to open to the changes that are coming for you. But I feel like, it's not one or the other. There are things with the king that you're going to want to attract to you, like being organized, like being powerful. But there are going to be things that you want to be a little more flexible and adaptable with this next year as well. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Capricorn. So if you're a Capricorn or have a lot of Capricorn in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best for you to place your focus for January 2025. And we got the Five of Pentacles reversed. And so starting off this new year, Capricorn, it's important that you're identifying what are the energy wasters in my life. Where are the places in my life that I'm pouring my blood, my sweat, my tears, my efforts, and I'm not seeing an equivalent reward for it? The Five of Pentacles reverse can sometimes hook us with a feeling of obligation or guilt, or like, well, I have to come through for these people. I have to put my energy into that because what will happen to them? The whole thing will fall apart. And yet this can be a really draining card. And so I feel like this is a new year where you want to sweep out anything that's a waste. I think of the Five of Pentacles as like, having a money bag and you're walking down the street, but it's got a hole in it and you're slowly losing coins. It could be time to staunch the bleeding or plug up the leak in the thing that's wasting resources, either financial or emotional for you this next year. The next card is going to be advice from your inner wisdom for the month of January, and we have new ambitions with the Two of Wands. 201 shows a lord of a manor. He's already successful. He's got a castle with battlements and a view, and yet he's not satisfied with that. He's holding the globe in his hands. He wants the world. He wants even more. And so too for you, Capricorn, this could be a month where you're reaching for more. And coupling that with that Five of Pentacles reversed, it could be a time where you don't settle for the small dream. You don't settle for the thing that's wasting your energy or burning you out, but instead you're looking ahead. You're making a forecast for yourself or making a plan for how you're going to realize a greater ambition. But I feel like there's a really great ambition that you want to embrace as far as this next year is concerned. And your year card for what you're going to want to attract to you, the sort of energy you want to embrace or what you want to release. You have an embracing card with the Judgment card. And the angel of judgment blows the trumpet and all the dead rise out of the grave again. And that's a symbol for the dead parts of you rising up again, reborn, renewed. For the Judgment card, this is always a card of rebirth and renewal, like the legendary phoenix that comes out of the ashes. I feel like this is a year of major transformation for Capricorn, and you really get to remake yourself. But it might be a time to identify, what is being wasted or squandered? Where is your energy being ill spent? And instead, put your focus on what makes you feel revitalized, alive again, and renewed. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Aquarius. So if you're in Aquarius or have a lot of Aquarius in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best for you to place your focus for January 2025. And before you go, oh no, the devil card, I have to reassure you that everybody's got a devil on their shoulder and everyone's got a little angel on their shoulder too. The devil is the part of us that is the inner saboteur. It's that voice that tells us we're stuck with our lot. We should be scared, limited, that we're guilty or obligated to do something. Or sometimes he represents things that keep us trapped in an addictive spiral or in something that's disempowering. And yet, for my money, the devil card in a reading will often come up for those people that I'm reading that are just about to make a huge breakthrough. It's like they have all their ducks in a row. They have the journey almost complete. All they have to do is take that final step over the threshold. And that's when that voice gets in their ear and it says, are you sure you want to do that? Shouldn't you just stay in the old ways? Or worse yet, maybe you can't do that. Maybe you're thinking too big of yourself. Who do you think you are? You have no place there. And yet it's a lie. The devil is not anything if not a liar. And when this archetype comes up in a reading, it's telling you to identify any lies you're telling yourself about what can be possible for you, especially in the next year. The advice from your inner wisdom for January 2025 is a very different sort of symbol with the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is a card of action, triumph by force, and also taking your power back. I feel whenever I see the Ace of Swords, when you act, you win. When you're passive, you lose. When you're passive, you're letting your shadow take over, and that devil gets the microphone, and it allows you, it makes you feel disempowered, like you just can't make another step forward. And yet that Ace of Swords is a can-do card. Sometimes Ace of Swords will say, take action on that new thing before even thinking about it. Just do it, and stop overthinking. That analysis paralysis is just going to get in your way. Ace of Swords can also be a card that's really, fortuitous for the new year because it indicates that you're establishing new conditions. And whatever it is that you're thinking of implementing, this is a confirmation card that you absolutely should do it, even if your fears are kind of railing against you from within, telling you all the reasons why you shouldn't. And the overall card of what you want to release or what you want to draw to you for the year of 2025 is the Nine of Cups reversed. And the Nine of Cups reversed can be a card of excess. So what you want to release this next year is whatever's in excess in your life. And for everybody, it's different. Some people, it's just excessive worrying, excessive obsession about something, or excessive focus on one sector of their life at the expense of others. For others, it could be excessive eating, excessive drinking, all those, New Year's resolution things that we want to change. But whatever this card is saying, it's time for you to identify what is really sucking up all the oxygen. And it's time to release that thing or limit it a little bit more. It's time to walk into the new year with the maxim of the Oracle of Delphi, which was not just to know thyself, but also nothing in excess. And finally, we get to our astrological sign of Pisces. So if you're a Pisces or have a lot of Pisces in your chart, your cards are already falling out. This first card is going to be where it's best for you to place your focus for January 2025. And we see the Four of Cups. We see the guy in the Four of Cups. He's under the tree. He's worried about his problems, right? He's thinking about the past, or he's worried about the future and how something's going to go. And he's not present. His arms are crossed, his legs are crossed. He's in a closed posture, and he's not seeing that right in front of his nose, coming out of a cloud, is a hand offering him a golden cup. And so too for you, Pisces. This is a month that you're walking into where it's really easy to get stuck in your feelings or stuck in your head and not see the opportunity that's right in front of your nose. The Four of Cups is a card of miracles if you can see them. And sometimes this is a card of taking something that might feel like a time in your life that is draining or difficult emotionally and really reframing it into something where you're feeling empowered again. You're really looking at the benefit or the positive thing that's being offered. The advice from your inner wisdom, if you're a Pisces for January 2025, is the King of Pentacles. And this is a card of patience and practicality, focusing on what's going to make you successful. Your inner wisdom is telling you to get grounded, to get stabilized on whatever it is that is sure in your life, whatever it is that you can lean on, that's steady. King of Pentacles is such a steady card. He's also a career-oriented card. And with that Four of Cups symbolism, this could be a new year where you're starting to evaluate what you're doing with your career. You might have some valuable new ideas, but you have to stop worrying about it and instead just accept the good thing that's being offered. And finally, your year card of what you want to draw toward you or what you want to release is the King of Wands reversed. So two kings. King of Wands reversed will come up when we need to release the feeling of doubt that we have in ourselves and our own abilities. When we doubt ourselves, we kind of dishonor that inner survivor that is responsible for us surviving, even getting to this place in our life. And you should be thanking that part of yourself. You should be honored to be that person. You should be grateful to have that part of you that didn't give up and that still draws breath today because it didn't give up. And so when I see the King of Wands reversed, it's time to stop attacking yourself. It's time to stop looking in the mirror and looking at all the flaws and really leaning into those things and berating yourself for them. But instead, it's time for you to embrace what has made you survive, what makes you unique, and what makes you powerful. Upright or reverse, the King of Wands is a survivor. And it's time to trust his wise counsel, which is a symbol for the wisdom that you already possess within you. And that was this month's Tarotscope video for January 2025, and also a little bit of a peek at the new year and the larger themes of what you want to accept or draw in or release. If you found this video useful, it would be so appreciated if you shared it with a friend. Also, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting in the comment box, it really helps this community grow, and I am so grateful for it. If you are interested in hearing more from me, you can always come to my YouTube channel where I have tons of free tarot content, card meanings, daily card pulls, and even a weekly oracle that you can tune into. And if you'd like to get a one-on-one tarot session with me or gift a one-on-one tarot session to me, you can find gift cards or book an appointment at my website, elliotoracle.com. I hope you all have a wonderful, happy new year and that the things that you're hoping for all come to pass. We're starting a whole new year with new possibilities. And I just hope that we all can be a little kinder to everyone else because this world is going to need it this next year. So bring your A game into 2025 and watch how your miracles end up manifesting.